Minecraft has over 60 mobs in the game, but there's a few more I think we could squeeze in if you ask me, sub. So let's cover 9 mobs that should exist in Minecraft. But don't. If you're watching this video from many years in the future, and something on this list has been added, then make sure to leave a comment. Let's start tracking down these new mobs, sub. Number 1. Illager Golems. The Illagers are a mysterious faction, and not much is known about them. Some have theorized that they may be outcasts from society, sent away because of their meddling with dark magic. If that's the case, I reckon these guys would probably have more than just a Ravager to show for it. With the Evoker and the Removed Illusion mob both exhibiting control over magical powers, it makes sense that they'd be up to no good. Perhaps even creating an evil golem, something similar to the Iron Golem, but the Illager version. This would not only help defend their camps and outposts, but a few may spawn around the Woodland Mansion to make that journey to the Totem of Undying that much more difficult. Number 2. Ender Slimes. The end is pretty barren, and there are very few mobs to be seen. Besides the dragon, endermen, endermites, and the shulkers, there's no other ender creatures, or even ender variants. While an ender zombie or an ender creeper would be really scary, sub, I think that the mob that deserves this slot is the slime. Not only does it have a version for the nether in the form of a magma slime, but it can also now have an ender version. This purpley mass will be far more dangerous than both the overworld and nether versions, however, with the ability to teleport closer and regroup after you've divided them. Better get them gone quick, sub! This would also cause a little bit more of a distraction during the Ender Dragon battle, or could even spawn in special Ender caves that only generate in the far end. Number 3. Chameleons. These colorful creatures, much like sheep, would be able to spawn in with any color. The only thing is, they can each also function like the special multicolored Jeb sheep. When a player or hostile mob approaches, it can change to the color of the block it's on, essentially making this little lizard thing invisible to anyone who isn't looking. Killing one would probably drop chameleon scales that would be able to be used as temporary invisibility buffs, or even to craft a special armor that makes you permanently invisible. Ooh, very nice. Hey, do you think chameleons would be a good addition to the game? Make sure to subscribe to Sub's World for even more great suggestions. Sub's always uploading videos with great tips, tricks, and even potential updates for the game. Being a subscriber of Sub's World is just one click away. One little click. It literally takes a second. Number 4. Survivors. Let's get real, sub. Wouldn't you be creeped out if you ran into another player in your game while in single player? Well, there's no Herobrine, but it might just be our next mob. Survivors would be NPC players that spawn randomly in the world. While spawning anywhere, they're pretty rare and take the form of either Alex or Steve. They may even appear with ripped clothing or longer hair. They could be out here surviving for who knows how long. This mob's AI would be pretty complex, with the mob being able to collect wood and mine blocks with wooden tools. These mobs would also learn and have a lifespan, so the longer they live after spawning, the more advanced they would become, going up a tool tier every few Minecraft days or so, unless defeated. If you can find one of these guys in your vicinity, you better make sure to deal with them, sub, or in a week or two they could start getting aggressive. After they reach the iron tier, they'll become hostile to the player and start roaming around a bigger radius. Better look out, sub. Now it's not just Steve you've got to worry about. Number 5. Nether Creepers. I know I dismissed Ender Creepers earlier, but Nether creatures would be something else entirely. There is a Nether update looming after all, and with it changing up so much about the game, such as adding netherite and a bunch of new mobs, it would make sense that it also added new components to Minecraft's most iconic creature. This wouldn't be a replacement for the creeper though. This would just be an additional behavior, kinda like a supercharged creeper. If any creeper wanders into the vicinity of the portal, it would have a chance to transform suddenly into a reddish netherfied creeper. These warped variants with molten cores and a netherite texture would feel and act like electrified creepers. Except when exploding, they would cause a huge ring of fire as well as the explosion. Number 6. Sharks. The aquatic update brought so many new underwater mobs, but still no sharks. No sharks and no jellyfish. They're like my favorite ocean creatures. Not cool, Mojang. Anyways, because of this, I've gone ahead and added some sharks to your Minecraft world, sub. I hope you don't mind. Sharks roam the deeper ocean biomes and attack all other underwater mobs except the drowned. In fact, drowned would be able to tame sharks and set them loose on players. If a player enters the water and their health isn't full, any nearby sharks will instantly know, as it's kinda like you bleeding. Otherwise, these guys are mostly neutral to the player. Unless you get within a block of them, then they'll snap at you. Sharks will not keep attacking you until you're dead, however. They have a chance to lose interest, especially if there are other fish around, so you better get going, sub! While sub swims away from that shark, make sure to take some time to like the video. You know what it means to us, and if you don't, well then, you're not my friend. Just kidding, or am I? Number 7. Penguins. Much like how the panda finally got brought to the game after many people asked, maybe the penguin will too. It really should after all. These beaked waddling creatures are truly adorable. And besides, those Arctic foxes and polar bears need some company up in the snow biomes. Penguins would occasionally slide along the snow, much like how the panda rolls. They would of course spawn in snow and glacier biomes, near ice and water. The penguins would travel into the water to hunt fish, and gather in large numbers to migrate across the world to other nearby snow biomes. This would make for a true sight to see. I think migration would be a neat little thing to see mobs do in the game. Don't you agree, sub? Number 8. Morphers. I'm sure you've all heard of the Shapeshifter. These creatures have an unknown original form. They are only ever seen mimicking other mobs. These morphing creatures would first spawn as a random mob, but then have the ability to transform into something completely different. The Morpher, while being able to become any mob, would still deal the same amount of damage. The only thing changing is how the damage is dealt and the method of dealing it, either hitting as a zombie, shooting as a skeleton, or flying down as a phantom. You want to know the best part about these mobs, sub? Killing a Morpher has a chance to drop a spawn egg, an egg of whatever mob they were mimicking last. Pretty neat, huh? Number 9. Wizards. With all the magic floating around the game now, it's obvious that wizards should be in the game. But rather than potion brewing like witches, they instead should use magic wands. These wands can create a number of effects that can damage you when they feel threatened. Wizards are mostly nice, humble folk, but go rooting around their towers, and they'll make you levitate, set you on fire, even freeze you in an ice block. The trick to these regular old sticks? Wizards actually have a special hat that allows them to turn their experience points into magical spells. Spells that fuel the item, making it into a special wizard's wand. You won't be able to get a hat off every wizard though, so you'll need to defeat a few before you have the power to create cool spells like them. What other spells would you add to Minecraft? What other mobs should be in the game? Make sure to let us know in the comments down below.